The text that we have just read is actually a letter. And in Revelation chapter 2 and chapter 3, there are 7 letters written to 7 different churches. John wrote this letter around about AD 100. So it's about like 70 years after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So this church were there actually. The 7 churches that were mentioned were actually there. And those of us who have made tour to Turkey, some of us may take a side tour and see the 7 churches, but they are actually in ruins now, that 7 churches. But when this letter went forth, these 7 churches were actually there. And some people look at these 7 churches and see them as 7 sequential stages, or chronological era in our church history. Theologians call this the historical and prophetical interpretation or sequence. The church of Ephesus would represent the apostolic church from about AD 30 to AD 100. Smyrna, the persecuted church, up to AD 313. Pergamon, the Constantine church or the political church, up to AD 600. Thyatira, the Dark Ages church, up to 1517. And then Sardis, the Reformed church, with the rise of Martin Luther, 1648 up to 1648. Philadelphia, the missionary church, 1648 to 1900. And Laodicea, the last stage, is actually the apostate church, which is, some people say, from 1900 up till now. But of course, there are certain theologian or pastor or preacher that may not agree with this historical and prophetical sequence or interpretation. They say, no, we cannot interpret it this way. But it doesn't really matter, I think, because in the Olivet Discourse, Matthew chapter 23 and 24, when Jesus talked about the last day, he said this. He says, sin will be rampant everywhere. And because lawlessness will increase and abound, the love of many will grow cold. Some people call this the great falling away. Decaying, Eugene Peterson said, decaying into a mold of ashes. Difficult words, actually. Yeah. But personally, as I look at the 2 years that we have gone through, I think the pandemic is not there to fan our fire, to keep it burning strong. But probably the pandemic has caused many a heart to grow cold.